All right, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, and this is Smell Goods. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you hanging out for at least the next 5, 10, 15 hour. No, I'm not going to hold you that long, but I do want to give you some information, content that might be helpful in your fragrance journey, just like I'm on my fragrance journey. All right. So one of the things that as I've been on my fragrance journey that I've been kind of like, I don't want to say surprised by, but just kind of caught me off guard is what notes I really start to lean towards and really like and have an affinity towards. And one of those notes is the tobacco note. Tobacco is something that I never imagined or never thought that it would be something that I'm like, yeah, I want to put tobacco on my skin. All right. But again, just the way I think sometimes. But I wanted to give you 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, however many fragrances, we'll count it up at the end. But a bunch of fragrances out of my collection that have a note of tobacco in them. Some are more prominent than others, but these are 10 fragrances that I think will have you smelling good, especially if you're looking for that tobacco note or fragrances that fall into that category. All right. First one is the one that actually kind of caught me surprised. And again, I'm not putting these in order of best to worst or anything of that nature. These are just 10. All right. Actually, I was going to give you one. Oh, I'll stick with that. Give you one that kind of caught me off guard when I was searching and looking at my fragrances that have a tobacco note. This one kind of caught me off guard just because I really didn't pick it up or really haven't really noticed it too much in the fragrance. It's a great fragrance. It's one that kind of got me really accelerating, if you will, my fragrance journey. And this is from the House of Lattafa. This is Assad. Now, this is their take on Sauvage Elixir. But in there is this note of tobacco. And if I'm searching for it, I can kind of pick it up, but just off the rip, it didn't come off as a tobacco noted fragrance. But this is just a great fragrance. I get some of those other things that are in it a little more, but definitely fits in there if you're looking for a tobacco noted fragrance. One that you could definitely go ahead and rock well. Again, Assad by Lattafa. All right, we'll drop that over here. All right, then let's go with, I've got a couple of travel sprays that I'm kind of just working my way through. Don't know if well, one of them I was planning on getting a full bottle, but now with something else that's in the list, I don't know if I need to. The other one is one that I'm working through. If I find a good deal on it, I'll pick up the bottle itself, but it's a nice to have, not a must have for me. And that's not saying anything against it. It's just with everything that I have going on, I've got the travel spray. This will last me for a while, as you can see. I'm talking about, first of all, about Replica's Jazz Club. Jazz Club. This one, the way I would describe this fragrance, this is, well, Jazz Club kind of gives you the clue, the idea or the thought behind this, but I almost put this also like old mafia type of steakhouse type of a fragrance. This is definitely has that, it has some alcohol in it too, as far as I want to say it's whiskey. I want to say whiskey, maybe rum, but definitely a fragrance that has that note. It is a little more noticeable in this along with the other things, but this will have you smelling really good if you want to have that tobacco note. Again, this is from the House of Replica, Maison Margiela, Jazz Club. All right. Now, the one that I checked it out originally because it was like, everybody was like, oh, this fragrance, right? And I got it for myself. It was part of a travel set / discovery set that I got from the House of Mancera, which by now, if you've been on this channel for probably more than 2 videos, maybe 3, you'll know Mancera is probably my go-to niche house right now at this moment. Although there are some things this year that are probably going to start moving that along. But when I was starting on my fragrance journey, I kept hearing about this and I was like, well, let's check it out. Let's see what it's about. And I am talking about from the House of Mancera. Let me figure out how to show that to you. We're talking about Red Tobacco. Red Tobacco. Now, I will tell you this immediately when it opens up, especially if you've not really put nose to a tobacco fragrance, the medicinal of it, it's kind of a medicinal scent, hits you. But once this dries down, it dries down very beautifully into this, yes, tobacco, but kind of fruity type of a fragrance. This works very well. It does. This is nuclear. I will probably go through this slowly. I mean, I've had this for almost a year now. You can see where I'm at, and I have worn it a few times. I haven't worn it, of course, during the summer. just because this doesn't work in 120-degree weather. But with it being cooler, I have broken it out once or twice. This is 1, 2, possibly 3 sprays, but this is not something to play around with. This is potent stuff. But with that said, I'll kind of explain what I'm feeling about it in a moment. But red tobacco, great fragrance for you to have, for you to check out as far as a note of tobacco in it that is, in this case, very prominent, but done very well to the uninitiated nose or the untrained nose, or to a nose that may be not used to complex scents. It may take a while to get there, but once it gets to the dry down, that's when the beauty and the magic starts to come out. All right. Again, Mancera's red tobacco is another tobacco noted scent that you might want to get your nose on. All right. One that is the tobacco's in there. It's there, but there's so many other things going on. I sounded really bad there. So many other things that are happening with this fragrance that the tobacco note is kind of taken along for a ride, and it's a glorious ride. I am talking about from Lattafa. I am talking about the Kingdom, and this is their take on Jean Paul Gaultier's Lamel Elixir. The tobacco, you can kind of pick it up. Again, not overpowering, not red tobacco-esque in any way, shape, or form, because you got that vanilla and you've got other things that are kind of in there, kind of hiding and going along with that tobacco. But it is there. This is a great scent. This is a compliment getter for sure. And this is another one that has that note of tobacco that you may want to check out. Again, I'm talking Lattafa's The Kingdom. All right. Now, another one that has the note, this one has the name or has tobacco in its name. But it's only on the dry down that you start to get that it's there. Okay. Because the way that this is titled, you think, oh, it's prominent. Oh, it's there. Not at all. I am talking about from Banana Republic, tobacco and Tonka Bean. Tobacco and Tonka Bean. What actually hits you up top is more the fruitiness, I think, of the plum that's there. This tobacco then kind of comes behind it, and in the dry down really begins to make its presence known. But this is not a overpowering tobacco. The fruitiness is kind of more there than the tobacco. But definitely something that I use right now. Even I use it to kind of layer with some other things. I use, occasionally just hanging around, what have you. Performance on this is decent, not major, not beast mode or anything of that nature. But it definitely, as far as the tobacco in it, it's there, but this is another one that's being taken along for the ride. It becomes more prominent in the dry down, if anything. All right. Again, that is from the house of Banana Republic, tobacco and Tonka Bean. All right. Next one up is one that is from the house of Rayan, however you pronounce it. And this is a clone of a discontinued fragrance. Mugler had Pure Havane. And so this is their take on Pure Havane. This is just to give you something that is kind of present today, that is still being made, that will kind of give you where to put this in the space of, might fall into that Naxos category. I'm talking about from Rayan. I am talking about Insurrection 2 Wild. That's wild, boy. All right. Anyway, so Insurrection 2 Wild, you got this, I want to say cherry, honey, tobacco fragrance going on. Very nice, very much just a nice, sweet, but not overly sweet, tobacco-y type of fragrance that works, that rocks. Does a good job of doing its take of Pure Havane. Definitely something you might want to get your nose on. Very much in the budget range, if you can find it. I know it's a little difficult to find sometimes, but don't overpay for it. Let me just tell you that. Don't overpay for it. I've seen some places offering this for like $60, $70. Don't do that. But again, we're talking about Rayan's Insurrection 2, another nice sweet tobacco with honey in there that just works really well. All right. Next one up is from another one from Fragrance World. I don't know if I gave you one from Fragrance World, but this is one from Fragrance World. This is allegedly doing its take on Blazing Mr. Sam from Penhaligon's, but this is the one with the tiger that jumps out at you, that's coming out at you from the bottle. This is Apex by Fragrance World. You've got tobacco in here. You've got, I want to say, whiskey in this. Nice, hefty date night type of a fragrance that just kind of has some body to it, has some depth to it. Good job on this one. Tobacco again is there, but not overpowering, not making its presence overly known, but it's kind of like peeking through saying, hi, I'm here. That's kind of what this one does with its tobacco. Again, this is Apex from Fragrance World. All right. Next one up is one that to me just stands out as this is just kind of black tie affair. This is all black suit jumping out of a black, actually for me, it would be the old school black Hummer. Yeah, some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Not the modified H2 or anything of that nature. I'm talking about the old school black Hummer. This is kind of that Voss fragrance jumping out of something big, black, on four wheels, black suit, suited up, tossing your keys to the valet. That's this type of a fragrance. I am talking about Bulgari's Man in Black. Again, with that tobacco note, this is definitely a date night fragrance that is, or it could actually, in all honesty, it could be a daily wear if you want to. But I think it finds its home really more in the evening time as a intentional fragrance that just commands attention, commands presence, and dictates kind of how the room and how the evening's going to go. Bulgari Man in Black for another one that has that tobacco note in it. All right. Next one up is another one from, well, not another one in this video, but one from one of my favorite designer houses, and that is John Varvatos. And this is John Varvatos Vintage. John Varvatos Vintage. Now this is more the tobacco and the things that are going on with this. This is more, in my opinion, more of a mature, settled man. Doesn't necessarily have to be out intentionally. This could be kind of just the classic manly scent t-shirt, especially if you're talking, let's think 50s, 60s, 70s t-shirt, jeans, and a pair of sneakers, what have you, or even loafers. This is that type of a fragrance. This is the fragrance that your dad would wear if your dad were your age now, right? But when he was your dad younger or years ago, y'all know what I'm saying. That makes sense for you. But this is just a nice mature fragrance that to me has that tobacco note, has some other things going on with it, but it's just a classic scent for me that just feels like settled. It feels like in control. It feels like just ready to handle business, but doesn't have to be overt about it. Just kind of sitting in the cut, smoking a cigar, if you will, handling business. All right. John Varvatos Vintage is another one with the tobacco note. And then the one that probably prompted me to do this video, to do this fragrance kind of collection, what have you, is one that I just got into my collection and has already shot up the ranks as one of my favorite fragrances. Y'all know it by now if you've been on this channel for any time. It is from the house of Argos. This is Triumph of Bacchus. This is just a nice counterbalance, if you will, contradiction, if you will, of fruitiness with that tobacco that just comes through. You've got, again, that pressurized atomizer. This just lasts. Great performance, great longevity, great sillage, just an all-around great fragrance. And yes, that tobacco is there, but that tobacco with the fruitiness of it is just divine. It's just amazing. All right, that's it. I think that's all of the fragrances, including the travel sprays that I have for you that have a tobacco note in them. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's something that has that tobacco note that I might need to check out. Definitely, of course, things like Naxos and some other things that I'm aware of, but let me know your thoughts. As always, I simply ask, stay safe, stay sane, stay smelling good, and do me the honor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, request notifications, and share. Meet me in the comments. We'll see you next time. Have a great one. Be blessed. Peace.